Two things are true at the same time, and almost nobody puts them next to each other. The first one you already know. Sending one child to daycare can cost more than rent. The second one you probably also know, but from a different part of your life. The person who actually holds that child, feeds that child, and keeps that child alive for 9 hours a day is not getting rich. Those two facts sit in the same building. Enormous bills going in, small paychecks coming out. And when people notice that, they usually assume someone in the middle is taking the difference. That is the natural conclusion. It is also mostly wrong. There is a reason those two facts live together, and once you see it, a lot of your budget stops looking like a personal failure. Let me make the contradiction as uncomfortable as I can, because the discomfort is the useful part. Think about the last decade of your spending. The television on your wall got better and cheaper. The phone in your pocket does things that used to require 4 separate devices. Software that used to come in a box now costs a few dollars a month, or nothing. Meanwhile, childcare, dentists, plumbers, car repair, haircuts, tuition, a nurse, a therapist. Every one of those went the other way, every single year. Same country, same economy, same decade. So it cannot be that everything is getting more expensive. That is not what is happening. Something is splitting the economy into two halves, and you are living in both of them at once. Before I show you what it actually is, let me clear away the 3 answers you have already heard, because each one is partly true, and none of them explains the split. The first is greed. Someone is charging more because they can. Greed is real, but greed does not run on a schedule. It does not explain why this happens every year in every rich country in the same categories for decades. The second is regulation. Rules and licensing add cost. Also real, also not enough. Regulation does not explain why a haircut follows the same pattern as a hospital. The third is inflation. Everything costs more, except it does not. That is the whole point. Half of your spending got cheaper. When 3 explanations each capture a piece and none of them capture the shape, that usually means the real cause is underneath all 3. So here is the underneath. Picture 2 people who both started working in 1970. The first one makes televisions. Over the following decades, the factory around this person changes completely. Better machines, better materials, better processes, automation, global supply chains. The number of televisions this person can produce in an hour goes up enormously. Now the second person. This one looks after small children. Over the exact same decades, what changes about that job? Almost nothing. There is no machine that lets one adult safely watch 40 toddlers. There is no software update that makes a 2-year-old need less attention. The job is the time. The time is the product. Economists call the first kind of work high productivity growth, and the second kind low productivity growth. That is the entire distinction, and it is about to explain your budget. Here is the step that makes it inevitable, and it is the step most people miss. You might expect that the childcare worker, whose output never improves, simply never gets a raise. That is not what happens, and it cannot be, because that worker has options. They can leave and go work in the factory, or the warehouse, or the shop, or anywhere else that is getting more productive and can afford to pay more. So in order to keep anyone at all in childcare has to pay something close to what the rest of the economy pays. Wages across an economy move together. Not identically, but together, which means the childcare workers' pay has to rise over time, even though the amount of childcare they produce per hour never rises. Read that sentence again, because everything follows from it. The cost of that hour goes up. The output of that hour does not. There is only one place that difference can go: into the price. This has a name. It was described in the 1960s by an economist called William Baumol, and it is usually called Baumol's cost disease. The name is unfortunate because nothing here is diseased, nothing is broken, nothing is being abused. It is the ordinary arithmetic of an economy where some jobs get more efficient and some jobs cannot. And notice what it predicts. It predicts that the more successful your economy gets at making things, the more expensive your services become in comparison. Not despite the progress, because of it. The falling price of the television and the rising price of the daycare are not 2 separate stories. They are the same story, told from both ends. The place this was first noticed is worth knowing because it makes the whole thing impossible to forget. Baumol was not studying childcare or hospitals. He was studying orchestras and theater companies, and he was trying to work out why they were always short of money. And he found something very simple. Playing a string quartet takes 4 musicians and roughly 40 minutes. It took 4 musicians and roughly 40 minutes in the 1800s. It will take 4 musicians and roughly 40 minutes in a century. There is no version of that performance that gets more efficient. If you play it twice as fast to save on labor, you have not improved productivity. You have ruined the piece. So the cost of putting on that concert rises with wages across the whole economy forever, while the output stays exactly what it always was. And once you see it in the quartet, you start seeing it everywhere. A surgery is a quartet. An hour of therapy is a quartet. A class of 30 children is a quartet. Anywhere the human time is not the delivery method but the product itself, the same arithmetic is running. Now let me show you the size of it, because this is where it stops being a theory and starts being your bank account. Since the year 2000, the overall consumer price index in the United States has risen at an average of about 2.3% a year. Over that same stretch, the index for daycare and preschool has risen at an average of about 3.9% a year. That gap looks small. It is not small. It compounds. A cost growing at 3.9% roughly doubles in 18 years. A cost growing at 2.3% takes about 30. So across a single childhood, the gap does not stay a gap. It becomes a different category of expense entirely. And education does the same thing. Between January 2006 and July 2016, college tuition and fees rose 63%, while all items together rose 21%. 3 times the pace in 10 years in the same country. Let me put that gap into a shape you can feel, using nothing but those 2 rates. Take any service cost you pay today and let it grow at the service rate. Take your general spending and let it grow at the everyday rate. After 10 years, the service is roughly a fifth more expensive relative to everything else you buy. After 20, it is about a third more. After 30, which is roughly the distance from your first child to your last parent needing help, that same service has nearly doubled in relative terms. Nothing dramatic happened in any single year. No crisis, no headline. That is exactly why it slips past people. A gap of 1.5% a year is invisible in any given month and enormous across a life. And here is the part that stings. Over those same 30 years, the possessions in your house will have quietly got better and cheaper, which will make you feel like you should be further ahead than you are. Now, the other half of the split, and I want to be careful here because this number gets abused. Between December 1997 and August 2015, the price index for televisions fell by 94%. Audio equipment fell 60%. Computer software fell 63%. Photographic equipment fell 59%. Here is the caution, and most people who quote that television number leave it out. That 94% is not the sticker price. The statisticians adjust for quality because a television in 2015 is not the same object as a television in 1997. So it does not mean a set that cost $200 now costs $11 in the shop. It means that what you get for your money improved enormously. That distinction matters, and I would rather give you the smaller, honest number than the bigger, exciting one. But even with that caveat, the direction is not in doubt. Manufactured goods got dramatically better per dollar. Human time services did the opposite. So why does this feel so much like being cheated? Because of where the money lands. When you pay a daycare bill, you can see the room. You can see the number of adults. You can see that it is not luxurious. Then you find out that the median hourly wage for childcare workers in the United States was $15.41 in May 2024. And the natural reaction is, then where is my money going? Here is the answer that resolves it. Their pay is not low because someone skimmed it. Their pay is low relative to the bill because the bill is mostly their time, and their time cannot be stretched. The hourly earnings of childcare workers have grown at roughly 2.9%, which is about the same pace as other non-supervisory workers across the economy. So the wage is tracking everyone else, exactly as the mechanism predicts. And the price has to track the wage. Both numbers are true. Neither one requires a villain. Now the part you can use. You can sort almost any recurring cost in your life with one question. Can this be done meaningfully faster or by fewer people than it was 20 years ago? If yes, that cost will behave itself over time. Electronics, appliances, most manufactured goods, most software, most things that arrive in a box. If no, that cost will rise faster than your paycheck, structurally, more or less forever. Childcare, elder care, dentistry, physical therapy, plumbing, electrical work, auto repair, haircuts, live teaching, anything where the thing you are buying is a specific human being's attention for a specific length of time. Run your last 3 months of spending through that question tonight. It takes about 15 minutes. You are not looking for things to cut. You are building a map of which parts of your budget are going to fight you. Once you have that map, 3 things change about how you plan. The first is the most important, and it is not a money tip, it is an expectation. Stop planning as if all your costs grow at the same rate. Most household budgeting quietly assumes one inflation number applied to everything. That assumption is wrong in a specific, predictable direction, and it is wrong by more every year. If a meaningful share of your spending is human time services, your personal cost of living is rising faster than the headline figure, and it has been for years. That is not pessimism. That is just using the right number. When you plan the next 5 years, apply a higher growth rate to the service half of your budget than to the goods half. You will get a less comfortable answer. You will also get an answer that survives contact with reality. The second change is about timing, and this one catches people who did everything else right. These costs are not spread evenly across a life. They stack. Childcare hits hard in a narrow window of years. Tuition hits in another. Elder care hits in another, and often overlaps with the second one. Each of those windows is a period where the fastest rising category in the entire economy becomes the largest line in your budget at the same time. So the question is not only how much do these things cost, it is when do they land and what else is landing with them. If you can see a service-heavy window coming, the years before it are worth more than the years during it. Not because saving earlier is a clever trick, because during that window, your capacity to save will be structurally compressed, and no amount of discipline changes the arithmetic. The third change is the one people reach for first, so I want to be honest about its limits. Can you substitute your way out? Sometimes, partly. A family member instead of daycare, learning a repair instead of paying for one, doing your own maintenance. Notice what every one of those has in common. You did not remove the cost. You paid it in hours instead of money. That is a real option and sometimes the right one. But it is a trade, not an escape, and it has a limit because the hours are also the thing you sell to earn a living, which leads to the one substitution that does compound. The half of the economy that is getting cheaper is the half where machines got better. If some part of what you sell can ride on that half, your income moves with the falling cost side instead of only competing on the rising cost side. That is not a side hustle pitch. It is the same mechanism applied to your own income instead of your own bills. Let me also say plainly what does not work, because you will be sold all of it. Budgeting harder does not fix a structural growth rate. You can trim a number. You cannot change what it is doing over time. Switching providers helps once. The next provider is standing in the same economy. Waiting for it to normalize does not work either, because nothing abnormal is happening. This is the normal condition. It has been running for decades. And a warning about the opposite direction. When automation genuinely does reach one of these services, the price stops rising the way it did. That is the mechanism working, not breaking. But the job on the other side of that bill is the one that changes. The same force that would ease your costs is the one that reshapes somebody's work, usually somebody you can see. So here is what I actually want you to take from this. If you have felt for years that you are earning more and getting less, and that the explanation people offer you does not match what you see in your own accounts, you were not imagining it and you were not failing. You were living in two economies with one paycheck. One of them made your possessions better every year. The other made the things you cannot skip more expensive every year. Nobody told you they were the same process. The bill for the daycare and the small wage of the person inside it were never a contradiction. They were the same fact seen from two sides. You cannot opt out of this one. There is no product to buy and no habit that makes it go away. What you can do is stop being surprised by it. Know which of your costs are on the rising side. Know when those windows land. Decide in advance what you are willing to trade for them, in money or in hours. That is a smaller victory than the ones usually promised on the internet. It is also the only one available, and it is worth more than it sounds, because people who see the shape of a cost coming make calmer decisions than people who get hit by it. Do the 15-minute sort tonight. One list, 2 columns. Then you will be planning against the economy you actually live in, instead of the one on the news.